Time to wake up, time to start the day. Wake up late with Dougie, he is the only way.
Wake up late, now everybody. Wake up late, everybody. Wake up late. Wake up late.
Wake up.
Wake up late with Dougie. Wake up late with Dougie. Wake up late with Dougie.
It's time to wake up.
Wake up late with Dougie. What rhymes with Dougie? He's just so funny.
It's the Wake Up Late with Dougie show, live from Danger Studios. Coral Springs, and now you know
We're the hottest show in this
Wake
place.
up late.
Now everybody. Wake up late. Now everybody. Wake up late. Now everybody. I said 1, 2, 3. Everybody wake up.
Live from Danger Studios in Coral Springs, Florida, it's the Wake Up Late with Dougie show, starring Dougie Almeida. Now, let's start the show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Wake Up Late with Dougie show here on Zoom. Excited to be here. By the way, this is the all-new Wake Up Late with Dougie show. Considering the world we live in, you better get a good night's sleep. We hope you have. Let's get right to it. Tonight's lineup is packed with talent. Very funny. Start with ladies first. A very funny lady. I should say, lady.
Lady's good.
Yeah, beautiful lady. Very funny lady. Monique Marvez is with us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Dougie.
Absolutely. And in and out of Floridian from New York and now living in Florida for a bit, Richie Redding. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, dude. I can't wait to get out of here. What's happening?
You look like the guy on State Farm that's wearing khakis right now.
Well, if you're under the impression that I'm wearing pants, I will let you run with that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was worried about wearing a certain shorts that are like those like thick shorts, like you just wear to bed, you know, and they got holes in them and stuff. But look, I'm glad you guys made it, man.
Yeah, man.
Show. Well, let's start. Usually we start to get to know each other a little bit. And ladies first, I met Monique in Isla Mirada, Florida.
Yes, you did.
At the Island Grill, where I started booking the room and you were the headliner and I opened for you and we had one hell of a night.
Well, not only did we have a hell of a night, number one, you were surprisingly hilarious, because a lot of times when they say we're just going to book a local since you ate up the budget, that means that the guy in the kitchen's going to MC and tell 3 stupid jokes.
Yeah.
But I so enjoyed you. Like, A, you were very, very funny. And then B, we continued to hang. We went to that bar and that Jimmy Buffett sound-alike band or whatever was there. And as I recall, we were out late and I may have even had an adult beverage, which for me is like birthday and New Year's.
Now, it wasn't just you and I, so that if my wife is watching, she understands that we weren't like kicking it.
No, I've met your wife. She knows I'm no threat.
But, you know, so it was great. I can't remember the name. It's a famous place. The Pigs, it's right in Isla Mirada, right there. The Pigs Knuckle. I don't know what it's called.
I think once you say pigs, people know, oh, it's going to be rich.
Yeah, no, it was great. Yeah, and there was a band playing and everything, and it was fun.
They were great.
And that place, by the way, we're going to start booking it again the first weekends of the month on a Friday and Saturday at the newly renovated original location, the Island Grill. So we should be starting those Friday and Saturday night shows. So that's 2 nights.
And it's good. Like, the food was good. Like, that was one of those nights where it was like, what? The opener's good, and the food is good, and the service is good, and the staff knows to like kneel down and whisper and not hit a punchline. I'm in heaven.
Isn't that the worst, dude? Have you ever been in a club? You could tell that's like it's not a comedy club, or it's like a restaurant or bar that just started doing comedy. And then you're right in front of your table, you're on stage, and somebody comes up and goes, "You guys want appetizers or what?" And I'm like,
dude, LOL in Times Square, the waiters will walk across the stage to get to the other side. Yeah.
Is there a chance they can have a daiquiri, going like right when you're going to hit a punchline, they can be making a frozen drink?
the place I started out at, the Laugh House in Philly, they had like an old timey receipt printing machine that had like the papers on the side that you had to rip off. That fucking thing would run for 15 minutes. It would have to print 400 checks because they were black and they all get separate checks. But they would have to print a check for every person in there for the entire headliner set. They actually put out a CD of a Kevin Hart set, and it's mostly receipts.
Nice.
Sounds like the bar did well tonight.
Yeah.
That is just nuts. I mean, it's like one of those old printers that are like
Exact same
Dot
thing. Yeah,
Matrix, baby.
Woo.
wow. You know, it's I've been in I think the last time that happened, I think it was at the old Marco Island Off the Hook Comedy Club. They had like the blenders, like the bar, you know, like when people order the mixed drinks, you're sitting there all of a sudden, they're like, really? Who the hell orders a Miami Vice? You know, rum anymore.
Or also, how about a bar that's in the room and the fucking bartender thinks he's Tom Cruise in Cocktail and he's just overheading that shit? Like, buddy, get a spoon and stir that thing.
But by the way, when you said the old the old Marco Island, there's nothing new on Marco Island. They stopped allowing anything into that town in 1974.
Even a newborn is actually a senior citizen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They don't have a natal ward in their hospital, just geriatrics and bariatrics. You're either fat or dead or both.
That was crazy to get out there because it would take you 90 minutes to get there from where I live, and then it'd take you 45 minutes to drive 30 miles an hour through a condo community.
Yep.
Unbelievable. But that room's starting again, and they had the original location, and
of course they do.
Yeah, no. Well, the original when we were there, they had a temporary spot. They rented from another restaurant that closed down.
Right. I'm talking about Marco Island. Of course.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're starting that again. So that's going to be awesome. Richie, the last time and first time I met you was actually at Tavolino's.
Dude, and the weirdest week, right?
Yeah. Which was like the week of March 11th, 12th.
Mm-hmm.
You know, COVID was out. People are starting to go, what is this? What's going on? And then, and we did a show at Tavolino's where the owner and his friend and 2 or 3 of his friends, so there's 4 people in the audience.
Were the only people in the audience.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was brutal. And
it was fun though. They were actually fun.
Yeah. And the opener, I won't mention his name because it's kind of funny. I'm going to rip on him a little bit. But my feature comedian, I actually came from, I think I did a gig in in Bonita Springs. He mentioned me and I remember I drove there after, and then our middle, after he gets off stage, goes and starts selling his merch to the 4 ladies.
Yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
right. Yeah, like, dude, are you fucking kidding me right now?
Right? There was only 4 people sitting in the audience, and those 4 ladies at the bar. That was your audience. And the minute he walked off stage,
for shirts.
Yeah. And you listen, I don't want to, I don't want to say anything, but when I expect somebody to know better, if it's somebody that's I pull him, hey man, but I know the guy. I said, dude, what are you doing? It's not like there's 100 people in here and you're talking to these 3 ladies at the,
Well, I mean, that move sucks if the place is packed. Yeah, but to his credit, he's only been in the game since the 70s. So
exactly, yeah.
Well, no, but he knew COVID was coming and he needed every dollar.
And no doubt.
We didn't know about the PUA yet. So
then we actually did my new room, which is probably gonna start in Hallandale at the Blue Bar Grill, which is actually a pretty cool location on the beach in Hallandale.
Yeah,
and
beautiful.
I remember we had like 10 or 15 people, right?
Yeah, I mean, considering that the shutdown was happening everywhere else, it was actually it was surprising how many people were out. Right, and then it got that whole week got even weirder for me because that was Wednesday, Thursday, and then I did Miami Comedy Inn Friday, Saturday, and it was packed.
Yeah,
and it was like I wound up. I recorded an album that weekend, if you remember, and the whole audience thought it was a hoax. Like all of them.
You mean the virus?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like across the board. Like I mentioned it, they're all like,
yeah. I'm not sneezing.
Yeah, that was nuts, man.
Well, yeah. Well, it's been a long way. I have. I mentioned those people who follow me know I'm out of quarantine. I got my antibody test. I have antibodies. Yeah. So I'm going on my antibody tour. I'm going to be hitting the loony bins in Wichita next week and the week after in Tulsa on my antibody tour. So,
Nice.
yeah, if there's any comics out there who recently came off COVID and have antibodies and want to go on tour for at least 3 or 4 months until we lose our immunity, let me know. We'll put a little tour together, and we'll do it. But that's cool. All right. So now,
I was in Australia, by the way.
oh really?
Really?
I was literally on a cruise ship that before I even took off, they had already changed the itinerary because French Polynesia wasn't allowing any flights in, and I was supposed to meet the ship in Noumea. So before I even left the US, March 6th, we knew that things were changing. So I flew from from LAX to New Zealand, and I met the ship in New Zealand, and I did a week on the ship where we had to basically do 3 stops in New Zealand and 1 in Australia because nobody else down there was letting anybody. We were supposed to do all of this French Polynesian islands, and that all got screwed.
So
And
they wouldn't let the boat dock there. They wouldn't.
nope. And it was a 6-week tour. I was booked for 6 weeks at big money all over that part of the world, and then I disembark in Sydney on my last live show was Friday the 13th of March on the ship, and right before I go on stage, they're like, "Don't mention COVID at all in your act. Don't mention," even though it's like the NBA stopped, the World Health Organization. So here's what happened is that I got off the ship Saturday morning, the 14th in Sydney. And I had a couple of people we were keeping in touch with.
Right.
What they were saying was that everybody 70 and older had to find a physician in Sydney, get a clearance to get back on the ship. And within 12 hours of that decision, they basically said, cruise is over, find your way home.
Wow.
And there's a lot of old people that are wealthy that live on ships and go ship to ship. So they actually, the QE2 was next to us, and I was excited to get to see the QE2. Well, P.S., all of the QE2 and all of my ship, which was a large Royal Caribbean, were told like on Saturday morning, the 14th, you're off, you're not coming back, find your way home. Even if you live on this ship, you're going to have to go stay with your kids or something. So I had this weird tense weekend in Sydney, Australia, where I didn't know if I was going to end up having to wait this out in Sydney. I was the last flight that left I went Sydney to Brisbane to LAX. There were no direct flights. Virgin was shutting down. And my flight, every single seat was full of basically Western Europeans and Americans, obviously LAX, that were just trying to figure out, like, what now? Like, we've been booted out of our home. Our cruise was canceled, last minute. And this older, very nervous gal was next to me in a middle seat. And she's so sweet. She's like, do you mind if I wipe your tray and your stuff down for you? I'm like, lady, you can spray me. She was so nervous because she was okay, but her husband was very elderly and clearly not in great shape, kind of frail. That woman did everything but shampoo my hair with antibacterial. But I was like, it's okay. I get it. You're nervous. I don't care. Do what you need to do to feel good.
Too bad.
That's the last chopper out of Saigon.
I was just going to say that.
For real.
It was the last flight out of Saigon. Damn it,
yeah. Yeah, no, they called me. I was not sleeping well because I didn't know what was happening. And at 4 a.m., the guy from downstairs knocked on my door and said, Royal Caribbean's on the phone. They want to talk to you.
Oh,
and they basically said, here's your itinerary. Like they didn't email it, or they're like, these are the numbers. It's paid for. Go to the airport right now.
Get the hell out.
There was a festival. It was like a music festival in, I want to say it was Guyana, and they had, it was like a primitive people's celebration music festival, and it's all these like rich Europeans and Aussies and stuff that are there. And it was supposed to be 5 days, and it was that weekend of COVID hitting, of like March 13th. It was still going like April 10th, and it was because they wouldn't let them leave. Like the government wouldn't let them leave that area. They had it
The
roadblocked.
fairground.
Yeah, and they showed this video of the dude whose festival it was. Like, you're all welcome to stay. We're going to cooperate, and we're just going to use the same rates for your rooms per day. Just going forward, and there's no free food. Like, this dude tried to stick it to him for music festival rates just for perpetuity.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Yeah.
That
Sorry.
wasn't gonna happen.
Well,
Yeah.
that's just cruel. Well, it's nice, Richie. We're talking about our shows with 4 or 5 people, and here's Monique on the QE.
Yeah.
No.
Next
Royal
to.
Caribbean.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't on the QE. I was next to the QE, but it was nice.
By the way,
Said-
speaking of big boats, you recently had a procedure which you didn't mind sharing with us. It's a good transition, by the way.
Man, you are slippery as sushi eel. With the sauce. Many years ago, I got Ben and Jerry, as I like to call them, my twin towers of Teflon. And I was a bigger girl. I worked out. I still work out, but I was like bodybuilder, 25 pounds heavier than I am.
How much were you squatting? How much could you squat?
120.
What were you benching?
It depends. But you remember, I do the booby shake. You've seen me. I can't do it now post surgery, but you've seen me do the booby shake.
I can't forget it.
Thank you. I was in, but it was a different thing.
Right.
So years later, I'm running now. I'm doing I'm not doing that. I'm an older gal. I'm shifting. And so although for 30 years I've had zero problems with them, people say that you've got to change, you got to change out the tires, that they're not forever, that every 15 to 20 years you got to switch out the tires.
Look at Richie like he knows what he's talking about.
Since I
I didn't think it was even that long. I thought it was like 10 to 15.
It's like a mattress.
Yeah, mine were in for 30. So here's the thing, Dougie. I posted on Facebook, because it's all isolated, him pulling the ruptured silicone gel out of me. People were freaking out. But I wanted to let women know, even if you're asymptomatic, no problems, no pain, you really can't keep these in forever.
So they were ruptured?
Absolutely. But it's inevitable. If they're in for X amount of time, the skin on them just wears against your body. It wears. So it's really nasty 49-second video that I posted on Facebook to let people, and on Insta. I wanted women to see. I wanted to bring awareness. It's gruesome. And I switched out, and I went from double D, like a double scoop Ben and Jerry's, to now I have sprinkles. So I have a couple of very nice cupcakes.
Wow, that's nice.
And they fit me better, and I feel better. And once I realized, even just having that gel out of me, I just feel better.
Wow.
So, and you're good until 2050.
Yeah, no, I'm in good shape.
You were rocking 1990s, girl?
I was rocking 1990 Shambolskis, and now pretty much from my collarbone to my belly button, I look 17 and frisky. So I'm pretty excited. I've been joking with my friends saying I'm trying to figure out how to invest all the money from the wet T-shirt contest I'm going to win.
No doubt. You gotta.
Those were some very old boobs, though. That's wild that you were like New Kids on the Block were hot when they went in.
Yeah.
Look, dude, when those boobs went in, I Want to Be Rich was being played as, that was a new song. Like when those boobs, I was an open micer. I've had 2 husbands, 2 live-ins, and 4 dogs on those boobs.
Yeah, girl. They pay for themselves.
I'm too sexy for my shirt.
Dougie, if I could, I haven't pointed out to you that this modification I've made on myself yet, which is once I started cutting my own hair.
Yeah, look at that.
Seeing that, brother? Come on, man. I was straight laced as they come last time you saw me. Got my own mullet and a bald spot now. Woo!
Hey, you look like you should be in a pickup truck and with a rebel flag.
Yeah. I'm really getting in touch with my inner Florida.
So you're cutting your hair? Is that what you're saying? You're.
Oh yeah, I did that myself.
Have you started finger banging a cousin yet?
No, but I'm in quarantine. So.
Well, there goes the Disney sponsor.
Yeah, but I did almost make out with the cousin one time at a wedding, and then I found out that she was my cousin.
Well, isn't a lot of people's first real experience like that at a wedding? it did
What,
like,
damn near make out?
well, making out, or you mess around with somebody in the family, like somebody who was there, like each other. Like I remember people would get married, and family and friends would come from New York, and there was this
Yeah.
one particular my friend Christine, who we always involved in, and finger
I
bang.
think, it was-
I lost your audio for a second.
I think that was good for both
all
of
right,
us
well,
because
something
I
is
lost
going
it
on.
too, and I think we were being protected. I think it was one of
All right,
those things
does
that
that
would
work
have
better?
changed our opinion of Dougie.
Brad, can these guys hear me, Brad?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can
Hello?
hear you now.
And long story short, she fingered me. What?
Somebody.
And the moral of the
All right, I
story
gotta
is
fix it.
keep your pinky nail short.
Let's see.
But yeah, I found out it was my deaf second cousin.
You guys
I thought
carry the
she-
show for me.
I thought she was just like really drunk, but turns out she was deaf, and my cousin.
Well, and let's be honest, as a comedian,
Dang it.
doesn't deaf kind of almost work?
Oh yeah, for sure. But also, I thought she was super interested in
You
what
guys
I
hear
was
me?
saying, but she was actually reading my lips. So we dodged a bullet that day.
How's that?
Come on, Dougie.
Now she can read your hair.
See those Adidas lines right there? Come on.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty psyched about it.
Oh boy.
We
Pretty
can.
good,
I
Doug.
can hear you perfectly.
Now you guys hear me, right?
Yeah, perfectly.
All
Man,
right.
The millions of listeners are going to be upset.
We
Yeah.
only didn't hear the part about how you got your third cousin pregnant. That's the
Yeah,
only
well.
thing we missed.
It was something with a bike seat, but never mind. But anyway, I don't know what you guys said, but that was it. The New Year's Eve parties when you're a guy, when you're a kid, people bring their daughters over, but weddings were great when you were young.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you've downsized. Congratulations. It's kind of like
Thank you.
like the wife and I are thinking we want to get rid of our house. We're thinking about selling our house and moving from this area, from a 4-bedroom, 4-bath. That's like going from a double D cup down to a C.
Yeah.
We want to find maybe like a 3-bedroom, 3-bath. So,
Cozy.
Condo
You want
Condo
cozy.
titties. Condo
condo
titties.
titties.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
There you go, Monique. You can start calling them condo titties.
Yep. And just to finish out your story, I'm gonna just add my own. I once made out with the son of a guy that with the son of a woman that my dad was dating at a funeral.
Nice.
Wow.
We
That's
snuck
trashy.
away from the wake to get drunk and make out.
Nice.
Yeah, dude.
That's pretty low rent.
I started dating I think I started dating my oldest brother married this woman whose daughter I was making out with. Like,
Yeah.
we really weren't relatives, but
No blood. There's no blood.
yeah, well, there was the first time. At any rate, so thank you. Just Richie got it, he caught it. By the way, this is the part of the show where we have we basically say, how do you, we have to talk about it. There's things just happening that we have to talk about. Now, I don't want anybody to expose their cunt. We don't want to get political here, God forbid.
Don't
No.
expose your cunt. Did
No.
you say that?
Yes, is my mic going again? But these are basically things that are going on, and and we have to talk about it. Like the first thing is Kanye West running for president in 2020.
Well, first of all, we know he's already funded because he got money from the relief funds. We found that story out yesterday. So that's kind of like a nice little seed money for his campaign.
What do you mean? I missed that story.
Oh, it was a very, very big story. It was that the feds finally released the list of small businesses that got money. And Kanye got between $2 and $3 million, and Chloe for her denim company.
Yeah.
And it lists how many jobs were saved. Like she got like 1.7 million, and it saved 57 jobs, allegedly, supposedly. And Kanye got between 2 and 3 mil, and it saved like allegedly 149 jobs at Yeezy, which, like those two need money like Katie Lang needs an EPT. She's a lesbian through menopause.
Yeah, and there was a big country club that just spent like millions of dollars on a wine wall, and they got like few hundred $1 million from the government, and not to mention,
200 million.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And
So,
not to mention the 1.2 billion that went to dead people.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, dude, I mean, none of that even scratches the surface of the possibly $4 trillion that Mnuchin has been able to just like put out the back door of the Fed. But I mean, it's the dead people thing was a good distraction,
yeah,
but I'm friends with a guy who does marketing research for a really big law firm in New York City, and they identified as like the next hot sector for them to help defend companies, being these companies that are receiving these federal funds. It
right,
comes with this like grenade pin on it that if anybody at the company that like a whistleblower clause basically that if
right.
anybody reports malfeasance, there's going to be a full investigation by the government. So any employee that has any kind of bone to pick with their employer that received these funds can nuke the company.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be interesting with all that. I mean, somebody asked me if I don't know if it's true, whatever he is doing, but it would be his way of trying to pull votes from Biden. It's clear if he wants to get people to not vote for Biden by doing, if it's real, that would be it. I mean, he's a Trump guy. He loves Trump, so he wants
He
to help
hasn't
him out.
filed anything.
Yeah, and it's too late for him to reach a lot of different, you know,
Well,
different.
also the
States.
the Trump visit thing, it kind of got like brushed under of like because everybody was like on his shit so much for like pandering to Trump and that bizarre hydrogen plane thing that he was doing in the office. The next day, Trump signed a bill saying that artists needed to get paid for their digital music within like it was like a net 30 or something like that,
Right.
and that was right after Kanye had left Tidal saying that Jay-Z owed him an insane amount of money, and Jay-Z saying that it had to be audited and all that stuff. So say what you will about him dancing in front of the cameras with Trump. The next day, he made like $100 million.
That was one hell of a pole dance.
Yeah. Trust me, Kanye's crazy like a fox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's crazy like a fox. He's no dummy.
The
Oh, by the way, speaking of no dummy, is Kim still in law school or did that end with COVID?
I want to see her pull it off.
Really? You talking
Her
about
top or her JD?
Yeah, exactly. Her dress. What are you talking about? Yeah. She
I
would.
mean,
First of all, she was thinking she's under the impression. First, the worst thing I've ever seen when it came to the Kardashians was they were on the Celebrity Family Feud, and yeah, and they were Jay-Z, not Jay-Z, Kanye was on there, and the girls, and all the Kardashians.
when was this?
This you got to pull it up on YouTube. But it was so bad because they were so horrible and they were cheating. Like like if
It sounds like an SNL sketch.
oh it should have been because all right, they lost. So this is interesting. So they lost and they were cheating. You know how like a Family Feud, you're not supposed to sit there if you're next in line. You're not supposed to go, hey,
Yeah.
say this.
Right,
You're
right,
supposed
right.
and they're like you're cheating, and they ended up
They're,
losing.
they're pretty loose on the celebrity events.
Yes, there's no
Yeah.
referee or something like that. So I think Monique went to go check her boobs.
No. I'm actually my camera, my phone is on low, and I don't want there to be an issue while we're.
I'm waiting for somebody to come running through that door, like
That's my front door.
you're gonna break in and this is a raid. But yeah, so they lost, and now the Kardashians lost. So what they did was, they knew. Well, I'm sorry, they won. Somehow they won. And they knew that they were going to be horrible. Like they knew that there was no way they can get there and answer questions in 25 seconds. So they actually gave it up and let the other team play for their charity. Guys, it was just a big train wreck.
But
although-
I would like to see her pull it off though, just to prove that like you don't have to be that smart to be a lawyer. You just have, for any degree, you kind of just have to spend the time doing it.
Yeah, I disagree with you, my friend. I was supposed to go to NYU law school.
Mm.
But I read contracts as a financial advisor. I read annuity contracts and trusts, and there's something about like the difference between being a good lawyer and a lawyer is your interpretation of what you're reading, and how to really manipulate and work the words. So it's well, I will
I
say, I will say is that, what I will say is this: it's never good when you go to hire an attorney and you see that they do bankruptcy, immigration.
Yeah, family, divorce. Yeah.
They don't really do anything else.
Right. I didn't say I expected for Kim to be in front of the Supreme Court anytime
No.
soon. I just think that if she actually fucking buckled down and she can get every tutor possible, right?
She still won't know shit. I mean, she would not.
You don't think she could fill
No,
her head for long enough?
I think she'll never be in front of the bench. She'll probably be under the bench, but she would never be in front of the bench.
She'll be straddling the bench.
Yes, thank you. That's
This
even
is
better.
slut shaming, and I won't stand for it.
Well, here, funny you should say that, Dougie, because long before the Lori Loughlin and that whole Felicity Huffman, I have a comedian friend, really smart girl who was a waitress in a restaurant. Long story short, she worked at Eva Longoria's restaurant. Eva recommended her to do a private catering event with one of the Walmart heirs here in Beverly Hills, one of the younger heirs. And it turns out that woman had her degree revoked when they found out that she never went to class and paid someone to literally go to school for her.
Wow.
So long before all of this, one of the Walmart heirs had her degree, I think it was UCLA, revoked.
I didn't know they could actually.
BS.
Wow, I didn't know they could actually revoke a real degree.
Yep.
Once you got it.
Yep. If they
I
can
know
prove that you didn't really get it, yes.
Yeah, I know they snatch away honorary doctorates as soon as the cups go on.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. That's Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
honorary Dr. Mike Tyson.
Yes.
Legendary.
Speaking of the news, even Michelle Obama recently, there was some news that she didn't get her law degree or something from Harvard or wherever it was, but she had there was being said that, but she didn't. It was actually a honorary degree by speaking at a commencement. So
Yeah.
you got to be careful with that, and those types of things. Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, was arrested, and now everybody's wondering, "Ooh, shit, who's going to be
I
busted?"
think that's the biggest story that's going to be the gift that keeps on giving for months.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, rest in peace, Ghislaine, for sure. But,
You don't think? Yeah. The real question is, will she make it? And
That's what
Dude.
everybody's saying. She's going to be tits up before you can say pedophile.
and
I mean,
you think it'll be a suicide? You think you're going to have to make it look like a suicide?
there's COVID now, man. She's no kid anymore. That cell is filled with bats and pangolins as we speak.
She
Somebody
walked in, some guy standing there with a handkerchief.
Yeah, just coughing into the vent next to her.
Smoking with that aqua lung. People are talking about, because everybody.
I like how you tied that together, because Aqualung by Jethro Tull is about a pedophile.
Thank you for recognizing my brilliance.
Yeah.
Thank you. Even I had no idea I did it, but
I had
Sitting
nothing
on a
after.
park bench, eyeing little girls with bad intent is the opening line of Aqualung.
yeah, great song.
But that riff is so hard.
Yeah.
I never fucking paid attention to that. That's crazy.
And remember how he sang it? Bad and girls, bad intent. And
Yeah.
Jethro Tull was bad.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, people, what I found was amazing in social media, how everybody, they post a photo next to somebody and go, look, there he is. That's, and, as a comic, you take photos with everybody. Can you imagine, like, after a show, you're taking a photo with somebody, a meet and greet after the show, and it turns out they're the head of the Ku Klux Klan. And then, you're like, oh, I don't know the fucking guy. Well, you sat next to him, you took a photo, you must know him.
Right.
And everybody's doing this with her and Epstein and stuff like that. But from my sources, it really is going to depend on who brought her in and who made the deal with her, because that's really what's happening. She was on the run. She ended up making a deal with somebody.
This is Illuminati shit. Like could, like it goes all the way up. I read in one of the tabloids, which when there's smoke, there's fire, that the Queen is already saying that Randy Andy's on his own, that if he gets somehow implicated in this, the monarchy's taken a giant step back.
They already
Well,
dispelled him. They already dispelled him months ago when this all. He's like, yeah, you step down.
William Barr is going to do everything possible to keep her off the stand. That guy is the biggest protector of scumbags in the world.
Well, you and I disagree. I think the guys, we got different.
All right. Well, just look at the Epstein thing through this lens. That Epstein was brought into the world of money by becoming a teacher at the Dalton School, right, in New York City, and the principal of that school was a former OSS, which was the predecessor to the CIA, who also himself wrote a book about basically sex trafficking teenage girls in outer space in his latter years. That guy was Donald Barr, William Barr's father. He's the one that brought him into this whole fucking thing to start with. And then, within like 2 years of that, he's inexplicably was a partner at Bear Stearns. But the guy that said there's no more need to look into any of these accomplices last year and tried to shut it down was the son of the guy who fucking started this thing,
there's a lot of connections there, but a lot of people say how they finally got rid of the New York Attorney General and then they arrested her was a sign that some of the barriers are broken down. And it's interesting, and that's a whole nother show, and we'll do it. But what's going on? But I think there's a lot of shit. This and Monique, you mentioned the Illuminati and stuff because people ask me about this, and people ask me how do you feel the Black Lives Matter and all this stuff. I go, it's all a distraction. Right now globalists are looking to peg the standard currency to a cryptocurrency from China. They're looking to unpeg it. And if you thought your finances were low now, we go into that one system, you're all fucked unless you got billions of dollars. So
it's a done deal. Like, and it's not going to happen because at the end of the day, I always say the mafia will save us because if they can't figure out how to skim, it ain't going to happen. So, at the end, I mean, it's so timely. I'm watching Treme, which is about post-Katrina, same guy that did The Wire. And,
Great show.
And at one point, one of the lead characters says, why don't we just let New Orleans be run by the mob again? They just did a good job. Let's just get rid of Nagin, bring the mob back. And I was thinking, at the end of the day, having grown up in Miami in the 80s, my faith is that organized crime will never allow a system where they can't figure out how to skim and graft. So, we're going to be at the mercy at some point of the mafia.
I do think, no matter what you think, some people are going to be exposed. Like I loved it when you watched all those Hollywood elites getting busted for the college scams, and things like that.
Loved it.
Yeah, that was.
I want to see an interview with the guy that was taking the fucking SATs and could get a 1600. He could get whatever score they wanted him to get that they know that they needed from the amount of points that they had on other stuff.
But here's the funny thing. Right. And if that guy's that smart, you know what I always think about certain criminals? If you would have applied your intellect to doing something on the right side, you'd be like VP of Google.
And he wasn't even making like stupid money. It was the guy that was the middleman that was pimping that dude out. And he had to fly all over the fucking country to look like a nerd taking SATs. That was a shitty living.
I actually have some friends that did that to get into college. I even know one of my friends took the test for them. And once I saw the score, I'm like, shit, I should have had you take mine. What you get on the SAT, Richie? You remember?
1290.
Look at you, genius.
Well, I think it was 14. It was out of a possible. It was 1400 back then, I think.
Yeah.
1290. Yeah.
I got like 920 or 950.
I cheated off a kid in front of me a little bit.
Well, it wasn't me. Did you take the LSAT, Monique? I mean I
didn't take the LSAT. I took the SAT, and I'm here to tell you because I'm way older than both of you that I took it in 1981, and I scored an 1120.
Wow, that's still good.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean,
but here's the thing: I'm terrible at math. That's almost all on the strength of the cognizance literature. I'm not good at math.
Same.
Well, yeah, I ended up bubbling in a bunch of questions. I didn't really apply myself until my junior year in college, which I did redeem myself because when I took my LSAT to get into law school, I got a 170, which was a pretty good score.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know.
But on the Ghislaine front, a very interesting thing about it is that well, they made Berman step down, like you said. Like, I mean, the week before the arrest was made, they pushed Berman out of the way. But
That's a big deal.
yeah, but the investigation was being led by SDNY Public Corruption Unit. It wasn't the Sex Crimes Unit. And public corruption deals with what it sounds like, with public officials that are involved in, usually involved in pay to play type shit. So super interesting that's who really stayed on and made the arrest.
Well, I think it goes back to the untouchables. If you can't get them for this, get them for tax evasion. Like, there's so many people that don't realize that, people like to say that, law enforcement is dumb or blah, blah, blah. And I'm always so joyful when I see, them come in on the sideways and go, yeah, and now you get the bracelets. Like, deep in my heart, I'm still most comics are iconoclastic or counterculture. I'm a rule following, slightly anal retentive nerd. So I like seeing bad people get arrested. I actually enjoy that.
Yeah, I'm like that. I'm a hero-y type guy. I like to see what the fuck? Don't laugh at me being a hero, dude.
No, it's the way you said it, hero-y. It was cute. It was cute.
I'm gonna put on a cape. I'm gonna put a cape on right now and fly across my room.
Like, I totally love that even during COVID, there was some like cold case of kidnapped twins that was solved after 30 something. Like, I love stuff like that. Like, they never gave up till they caught these bastards.
Hell yeah. There, by the way, that's our word of the day is perseverance. They persevered. And
I love that.
Did you like the word? Like, people, like, here's the thing, like, you guys are you doing well in comedy. You guys experience that when you're successful, there's just those haters, those people around you that just dismiss your success. Right.
Sure.
I mean, I had somebody, I've been unfriending the shit out of people on Facebook, by the way. I mean, if people
I threw a lot overboard.
Yeah, dude, if I see, political this, political that, if you're like, to me, if I'm a comic, I have a certain view, I'll share something, right? But that's not my job to report the news. I'm a comic. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to say something funny about it, right? So if you're so I just said unfriend. So there's this one local comic that I posted something and they attacked me. I think it was a pledge. Did you see the one I showed the pledge? It was, and there was a couple comics that commented on me about the Facebook part of it. Like, I don't even give a shit about the Facebook part. All I care about that this was the flag. This is the 4th of July. The Pledge of Allegiance with now under God, was written in there because it's not in it anymore or whatever. So I said, I thought I would just share it. And, oh, well, you this and you're that and you're this. And it was just so funny because the person said, you're on your high horse because you're so smart. And this is the same guy that was quoting, he put a statute about the flag. I go, dummy, if you can read law, if you knew how to read legalese, you know that 9 of the premises or the precedents within that law aren't even applying to this. So you just Google the shit out of nothing. And so he says, well, if I ever get on my high, whatever, ever, you get off your high horse, I go, bitch, you wish you can get on a fucking high horse. Okay. Don't get mad at me. So, but persevere, I had this conversation with you, Monique, and I had this conversation whenever I talk to people about business. I believe in continuity. If you want to be a funny comic, you got to get on stage. You got to keep getting on stage.
100%.
You got to keep working. You got to keep writing. You got to keep doing. You got this machine. You got to keep it going. You can't just stop it and do it every once in a while. And you got to persevere. Shit's going to go wrong. Things are going to go bad. The difference between successful people and the not successful people, the people that persevere. And
100%.
You have a story where you think perseverance got you through?
Me personally? You talking to me?
Yeah, both of you guys.
Talking to me? I've got a great story if he wants me to go first, but I don't want to, I've been going first. Okay.
Go for it.
So here's the story. I'm in Miami. I'm open micing at Coconuts. I'm literally talking 29 years ago because May 31st of this year was my 30th year in comedy. And thank you. So, South Beach was just coming up and getting really hot in the early 90s. 90, 91 was when it was just, the Marlin, and it was getting to be a very big deal. And so there was a club called Semper's. It was like a hot spot nightclub, but they didn't really get going till 11:30 because that's how South Beach was. So this little girl that was doing like a weekend room was going in and doing this club on Friday and Saturday nights. And I saw it in like the New Times, which is still there, you know, the New Times. And I was like, oh, I want to work that club. So I called, I left a message, you know, blah, blah, blah. She calls me and says, you know, 2 weeks from Friday, come at, you know, 10 o'clock. And at the time I was getting up at Coconuts. That was when there was Coconuts Comedy Club. So I'm like less than a year into the game, right? I'm super stoked that I'm going to South Beach. I get to South Beach. I've got a bunch of my friends driving over the causeway. We get to South Beach, and there's like this super bitchy gay doorman in a vintage smoking jacket named Raymond Haldeman. And he goes, there's no comedy. Oh, I don't care because I love him. It'd be different if I didn't love him. And Raymond goes, there's no comedy tonight. We kicked her out like last week. I'm like, well, nobody called me, and I have a bunch of friends that have come over and they've parked their cars and they've spent a lot of money, and, you know, well, there's no comedy, honey. I just told you. And it was July, it's the summer of 91. And I said, well, what's going on? He goes, nothing. There's like 4 queens getting drunk. I go, well, what would it cost you to plug in the mic and just let me talk? Right. And I had just started. And he goes, oh, all right, whatever.
You think you'd like to plug something in, being, you know,
right. So he plugs the mic in. My friends start to arrive because it takes them time. There's like, you know, now there's like 5 queens at the bar. And I literally just go into like material, crowd work, lunacy. I dub them, you know, the South Beach 7 Dwarfs. You're cokey, blowy, sniffy, but, you know, I give them like South Beach dwarf names, and I just talk. And once he saw that I wasn't going to give up and that I was pretty funny, he went out on the sidewalk, free comedy show, half price drinks. Well, within 40 minutes, the room was packed and rocking. And I was just an open micer, but, you know, I'm going to tell you that Beatles 10,000 hours, I volunteered to be the house MC at Coconuts for free. And I worked every weekend, 4 shows, almost from the beginning of my career. So it goes back to that perseverance. So I'm working the room, I'm rocking, people are drinking and laughing. And the guy that actually ran the room showed up at 11:30 to a full room of happy people. And he said, what's your name? I said, Monique. He said, come back next week. You're going to be our regular Friday and Saturday show. And that was that. I got my first big South Beach gig because I would not go away.
That's it.
That's awesome.
You know, because there's a lot of people that would just walked away and they would have just went back on Facebook and go, that guy's an asshole.
There's no Facebook in 1990. I would have gotten nothing. I would have gotten,
I'm just floating in time. You know what I mean?
Right. But that's my point. I would have just had to suck it up, and I wasn't having it.
Exactly.
I wasn't having it.
How about you, Richie? Where have you persevered?
Well, a quick third-party antidote that in my previous life, I was a coxswain, a little guy that steers rowing boats. And
that's cool.
And the guy on my boat in college was his name's Garrett Miller. He was he went on to he broke his own world record like 4 or 5 times, right?
Nice.
And he had broken the college world record, and then he wanted to break the senior world record, you know, the open. And he goes to our coach. He's like, "Yeah, coach, I just want to, you know, I got the college one, but I want to break the open world record. What do you think I should do?" And he goes, "I don't know, Garrett. How about whatever we do at practice, just get on the machine for an extra hour every day." He goes, "I already do that." I said, "Well, do 2 hours." It's like, okay, and he did it. He spent 2 extra hours on top of an Ivy League rowing program on the erg every day, the rowing machine. It's an absolute torture device. And then he crushed it. And he won lots of world championships and stuff. But so that's his story. Mine was that when I feel like what's great about your story, Monique, is that you were like, there's a fiasco involved when you're in over your head because you're like yet less than a year in, right? So I was in this fiasco because I had let this guy stay with me for a couple weeks I was like maybe 8, 9 months in, and he was a writer for Fresh Prince. He was like on the first fucking season of Def Jam, all this stuff that as a novice comic you think these are bona fides, but I kind of realized pretty quickly this guy was in fact homeless.
What
And
year was this?
2005.
Okay.
Hmm.
And this dude's eating my food, he's drinking my booze, he's smoking my dope, he's not giving me any fucking money, right? It's like I finally was like, hey man, you're gonna have to get out of here. And it was also at the same time, it was like the next weekend, my girlfriend was coming back, and she didn't want him there anyway. But also, I just learned that my unemployment was running out, and he starts to scramble, and he's like, I got you a gig. And you're going to be, he's like, I'm going to host this thing, and then you're going to be the comedian. You're going in between Memphis Bleak and Joe Budden. It became known as the Free Beanie Siegel concert. It was July, and it was an outdoor amphitheater with like 5,000 people. And he brought me out after Memphis Bleak just killed it. It's 100 degrees. It's disgusting, right? And he brings me out by saying, it's like, we got a comedian for you. He just graduated from the University of Pennsylvania. He might as well have just said, here's Whitey, right? But right before I go out, the promoter pulls me aside. He's like, yo, I don't know how they do it at your white boy shows, but around here, if you don't do all your time, you don't get all your money. I want 10 minutes, right? So he hits me with the here's Whitey. I go out. Before I said a word, before I grabbed the mic, I was getting booed by 5,000 people. just getting crushed by these boos. And I knew I had to do 10 minutes. So it was like $500 or something, which was 5 times as much as I'd made in that, whatever amount of time it was. And I needed this for my rent. So I just took this horrendous 10-minute bomb to the face, just getting booed the entire time.
Drubbing. You took a drubbing.
Just stood my ground for the full 10 minutes so that this guy would have to pay me. And I tell this story to a comic named Touré, who we're a great comic, Touré Gordon, and we're on tour 6-7 years later in Korea. And I told him that story. He's dying laughing at it. We get home. He's like, yo, you're not going to believe this. The same venue is looking for a comic this weekend. You want to come even the score? Like, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah. And it was a way tamer crowd, but knowing what I'm doing this time, I went out and it went really well. And the producer gave me his card, and I emailed this guy about every 4 months. Whenever I wanted to like commit comedy suicide, I would like shake that tree and be like, hey man, if you got any shows, I would love to do something else with you. And 3 years later, I get a call from that guy. Hey, you want to open up for Cat Williams tomorrow in Philly?
Nice.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And
you got
that was, yeah, well, and that went really well. But I also I did great, but I was like, fuck, Cat wasn't here. He didn't see me. And as I'm leaving like the dark area to go back into the dressing room, out of the shadows steps a dude in a fur hat, fur coat, purple suit, gold shades. Like, young man, absolutely stupendous. And
you're like a Rich Little today, dude. You're doing all these voices, man.
Am I? But and I wound up doing 150 shows straight with Cat.
Oh man, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
And because there's a lot of people that would say I'm not going back. Like I went real quick because we're going to get to our joke right contest, guys. By the way, before we go, but I did the same thing. I did this. I did the what's the one in Bloom? In Mobile, Alabama, the Stardom, and it was a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, which is the free nights. And the MC went out and just he did great because he did Sinbad. He was doing Chris Rock jokes.
Yeah.
Nice.
He was crushing. And then I come out and I just eat a big old dick. And then, and then of course the manager calls me the next day. He's like, boy, that was brutal, huh? I'm like, yeah, whatever. But like you said, perseverance. I got a call from Comedy Zone saying, hey, you want to go do that on Sunday. And I was like, I ain't going back to that fucking place. But then, of course, I said no. That was the warrior spirit. I said no. I got to go back. I got to change this, and we did. So we persevered. All right, let's cue it. By the way, my buddy Brad, if you're ready, let's cue. It's time for the joke right.
It's a joke, right?
But I didn't really think about it.
All right. I was going to message you and be like, what if we just both don't do it? But
We're back, by the way. It's
All
time
right.
for the joke right. By the way, if you guys you could think about the jokes real quick because you didn't do your homework. But
I'm ready. I'm ready. Whatever.
this is where comics compete for top prizes of an array of truly worthless shit, but more importantly, to have the honor to say they won something. All guests will be challenged to write a funny joke or funniest jokes inspired by these headlines. This week's prize is a lifetime supply of defective condoms and a $2 gift certificate from Radio Shack. Now, let's have the stories.
Aren't they one and the same? Kind of the condom and the Radio Shack, like.
For you told us about your boobs, and I changed that. I was actually going to say a lifetime supply of used condoms, but I figured I'd clean it up for you.
Thank you. No need.
Yes. Well, here's our first story, by the way. I'll read the headline, and if you guys have a joke, we'll go ahead and. But our first story is giant waves heads into the ocean during a photo shoot.
And we can't
I'm
actually.
gonna let him go first.
Well, my whole riff was dependent on being able to see it. Because seeing it was really the fun thing. And Dougie, can I be the first to say thank you for sending me links from UPI.com that insist that you whitelist their site in order to see it. That's always convenient.
You can click no thanks, by the way. I don't know if you're aware of that, but yeah, but hey, I got to deal with them, so I get they're sponsors. I'll read the story a little bit here. July 2nd, a wedding photo shot on California beach ended in a near disaster. Not that the marriage wasn't already. And when the newlyweds were swept from a large rock by a giant wave, a witness captured the video scene near the Montage Hotel in Laguna Beach, where the couple dressed in their wedding garb and were hit by a giant wave and swept into the water.
I have a number of thoughts on it. First off being, did they get the picture? Because then it's worth it as long as they got the picture. But I feel like it's like the Instagram versus reality thing, when it's like Hollywood versus real life. Like, this is what would have happened if the movie Overboard was true and two people just jumped off of boats to try to get to each other. Like, you're just getting fucking destroyed. Yeah, there's no actual punchline jokes there.
Well, here's my take.
Yeah.
Which is very dark. Having been divorced 3 times, had it swept them out to sea and they died hand in hand, then it's, they never knew the realities of marriage. Like, they died at that perfect happy moment in their best outfits with the best of intentions of saving each other, but in fact drowning. And because I've been divorced 3 times, I know how fast it can go. And I thought, the dark comedy for me was, damn, they lived. They were just swept away, but they got out and they lived. As opposed to what a great story if they were swept out to sea together, hand in hand. Sort of like a Gen Z version of The Notebook. Like, we tried to get the perfect shot for Insta, but we died hand in hand in our best clothes.
Yeah, it was kind of the perfect microcosm of 2020.
Yeah.
We were married.
So we weren't hilarious, but we covered it, Rich.
Yes. Well, we were married on July 1st, 2020, and we died and were divorced on January 1st, 2020.
What race do you think that couple was? It was hard to tell.
I saw the picture. They were a special kind of white.
Yeah.
They were all the way white? I wasn't sure because of the...
no. They were Jamba Juice Whole Foods white.
Yeah. I mean, you got to get this photo on the beach. Yeah. That's a white thing. It's definitely a white thing. I just thought it was funny because although they did have a California wedding, they had a Viking suicide, or a Viking funeral, I should say. Try to make comedy simple. Our next story, boys magnet fishing in Finland Lake. Have you ever gone? I don't know if anybody's ever gone magnet fishing, but boys magnet fishing in Finland Lake find rusty hand grenade. I'll read the story. Read the story. On July 2nd, 2 boys magnet fishing in southern Finland Lake reeled in something entirely unexpected, a rusty old hand grenade.
My question is, if you're magnet fishing, are you really thinking that you're going to catch any kind of fish? Because it's not like they even have fillings. You know what I mean? Like it'd be different if the fish had a grill.
Yeah.
But there's nothing magnetic in a fish. So by definition, you're just going to catch. I think that's the equivalent of old dudes that go to like Civil War sites with metal detectors.
Metal detector, walking around the beach with a metal detector, trying to find somebody. Oh, I hope somebody lost their engagement ring. Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
what else you can do in Finland? They got like 3 channels on the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in Finland is kind of like the Alabama of Russia.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That explains my friend Ishmo.
I know Ishmo. Yeah.
Yeah,
fucking
we're very
weirdo.
good friends.
The other sport other than magnet fishing that they're really famous for is their annual wife carrying competition.
Oh.
And for decades you have to like pound a huge beer, like a liter of beer, run, pound another beer with your wife on your back the whole time. And then after decades, one wife was like, fuck this, we're gonna redistribute this weight. And she went face down into his ass with her legs over his shoulders, and they destroyed everybody. So now everybody has to go face into ass if you even want to compete.
Like a running 69 position.
Exactly. Yeah.
And my question to you is, doesn't that kind of take us back to that first couple that got swept away at sea?
Yeah.
Like, isn't the second story a metaphor for the first story, kind of?
Yeah, oddly enough, after finding the rusty grenade, they found 2 couples that were linked together with an old bad wedding ring.
Yeah.
My thought was, boys magnet fishing in Finland Lake, find rusty hand grenade, went home later out and find out what a rusty trombone was.
Hey,
That's what I used to tell my 12-year-old nephew. I told him to go to Sam Ash Music and find out how much a rusty trombone costs.
Did you say Sam Ass or Sam Ash?
I said, Sam Ash, look at your mind.
Oh.
You got the new boobs, and all of a sudden you can't get sex off your mind. Another story, disoriented horses rescued more than a mile offshore. I'll read the story.
Oh, horse. I thought you said disoriented horse.
Well, those
Much
are
better joke.
Totally different story, man. I got to sit this out now.
well, that's your joke.
Oh,
I thought you had ocean horse. Yeah.
What was that old Saturday Night skit when Gilda Radner would fuck it up, right? She would think it's something else. Oh,
Emily
never mind.
Latella.
Yeah.
Emily Latella would talk about the presidential erection.
God damn it.
That was Emily Latella, and she'd always end with "Never mind."
Yeah, that was a great skit. A water
Very.
rescue team in Ireland came to the assistance of a runaway horse that ran into the water at a beach and swam more than a mile out to sea.
Oh, that's a social distancing. He figured if you're Irish, by definition, you're drunk and not wearing a mask, and I'm not letting you take this horse down.
Yeah, he's fucking Irish spit all the time when they talk. I don't want to be near him. I'm going to be out in the ocean.
Well, also just Irish hard-headedness of like, no, I'm just going to keep going this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not wrong, goddammit. I'm going to find the fucking land somewhere.
It's over here somewhere.
I'm a fucking seahorse, you asshole.
I'm liking the Irish accent. I'm liking it, Dougie.
You do it? Yeah. Fucking,
Well done.
I love one of my favorite movies was Snatch, and
Yeah.
great movie. And then when and Brad Pitt was that it's fucking Pikey, guys are fucking Dersham. What did he fucking say?
You're a big fucker, aren't you?
Hey, he's a motherfucker. And our last story, which I don't know if we don't have the visual for it, but this is very interesting. Dutch ID cards in Dutch, that's Holland, right? I'm guessing Dutch ID cards will soon omit gender, says the minister. Right? You think gender needs to be put on a? I don't think it needs to be put on a. Why should you have your gender on your photo ID?
Well, I think back in the day, because even now, when you catch a flight or you buy a ticket, they ask if you're going to fly in the U.S., you got to put your gender when you're buying your plane ticket. And I think it's so in the event that you get arrested, they know what prison cell to throw you in.
Yeah.
And B, because of security reasons, there's all kinds of lawsuits that pop up if the wrong cop looks up your anus. So they've got to know to have a girl cop for this and a boy cop for that. So I think a lot of gender has to do with CYA, no pun intended, moves. And I guess over there, they're like, we don't care who looks where or where they lock us up.
Yeah,
It is all law and order with you.
Yeah, it is. She's pretty bright on that. The officer dropping
But
cough.
think about it.
The officer
Yeah.
dropping cough was like, "This chick's got the biggest balls I've ever seen."
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, why not? You know, any joke
They-
I
from
think
you?
it has a lot to do with lawsuits. You have to know because people do sue. You have to know, that's when they say like, security check female on aisle 4 because,
So what
people
you're
when they're
saying
checking
is,
that.
so what you're saying is, if I want to get felt up, I should go on there and say I'm a woman. So
Yeah.
that way if I get, and then I should do something really bad on the plane
Yeah.
and like scream, "Trump's going to win 2020," and they're going to throw me off the fucking plane, and then I'm going to get finger banged by some
Totally.
chick. Yeah.
You'll get
She is
felt
not
up
going to be.
and-
Yeah, she might not be real hot though.
Yes, exactly. She'd be like 650 pounds.
Yeah. I was going to mention that the only thing that I've ever seen regarding Dutch IDs is that they considered a case in front of their superior court, I believe, that a guy a couple years ago was trying to legally change his date of birth
Yeah.
because he was getting job discrimination, and also he thought that his dating profile was getting looked over because of his age, because you can't change that, you can't lie about that. But yeah, if
Yeah,
you,
he did
you
like
know,
instead of feeling like a woman, you said, "No, I feel like a 15-year-old boy."
yeah,
Yeah, he
like,
was identifying as.
Yes.
It's all
You know
about like
who-
Rachel Dalzell. I identify.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know who wants to legally change their age is every pedophile.
Yes.
If you just change your age to 12.
No,
Yeah.
I'm permanently 16 and a half.
Yeah.
I think that.
What's the age
well,
of
I
consent?
think that
I'm that.
rather than age, they need to just measure the distance that the balls have dropped. Because being a woman of a certain age who's seen my fair share of male parts,
Yeah.
those do continue to descend. It's like rings on a tree. You can look at a man's dangle factor and know that.
There's
I don't care
gotta
what
be-
you say. Those are 43-year-olds.
There's got to be limited returns at some point. They don't just keep dropping them, do they?
Nope. Nope.
I'm still-
There was a long stretch where I never saw a pair over 35, but I recently dated an age-appropriate man, and it was on.
Did you see?
Like-
Did you see the way that she used stretched?
I did.
She
Certainly
the
did.
verbiage, the choice of verbiage was just magnificent.
Thank you.
What are the are the oldest balls you've seen the longest balls you've seen?
Yeah, absolutely. I dated a very attractive, physically fit, like it was on. But when he dropped trow, I hadn't seen like a pair that was in my wheelhouse for a pretty long time, and I was like, wow.
Ah,
Hey, what
I
are you
have so
going
many
golfing? Hey,
questions.
what are you going golfing?
like, like, is there a control study group of his balls? Like, is there a picture of his balls when he was 30
I
or
never
something?
saw it. I never saw his balls young.
Yeah.
I met him when they were already, swinging like a Doberman pinscher. But I've seen enough through the years that I can
Yeah.
consistently tell you that there is, it is a rings on a tree situation.
If you ever
For
did
us-
a book, if you ever wrote a book, I would love to see like your facial expressions, because you know now, right? Like Richie, we're guys. We know that when a guy drops his drawers, that's the first thing she's looking at. She's gonna check out the balls.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, give out.
How long were
Because
this
there's
guy's
certain
balls?
things that don't lie. It's like
Yeah.
with women, hands don't lie. Because there's nothing that can fix hands. There's no surgery. So if a woman's got wrinkly, age-spotted hands, that means that no matter what she's done on her face, or she goes to the gym, or she watches what she eats, you're getting a hand jam from a cougar. It's just that you got to just fess up to it.
It's the
Which
I
hands.
is
thought you
fine.
could actually. I thought you could actually fix hands by they shoot your own, like they spin your blood and they shoot it
It's
back
a
into your
new
hands or
thing
something.
now where they've just started injecting fat. But because I knew that, I've been putting SPF 50 on my hands since I was young. I mean, I'm very pale for a Hispanic person because I never go in the sun, and I've worn SPF 50 since I was in my early 30s, late 20s.
But
But
I
yeah.
still want to know how long these balls were. Could you see him from behind him?
Boy, Richie's
If
really
he
into
bent
balls.
over to pick up his bathrobe, absolutely, you were getting the full fruit bowl.
Yeah, that's tough.
So Richie, how old are you, dude?
I'm 41, and I got to tell you, my balls are pretty high and tight.
No,
Well-
they stay that way. If they really start to let loose at about 47, 48 is when It's like elastic in your underwear when you've just washed them too many times.
Yeah.
About
Well,
47, 48, they just say, screw it, we're loose.
Well,
It's like
well,
a
starting-
V-neck.
Yeah, starting tonight, I'm only going to use SPF 50 as lube. I'm going to keep them, baby.
Yeah.
My
I-
advice to you, it just makes sense. Support them. You know what I mean? Try not to go commando as
Listen.
much as you would like, because I think you got to fight gravity. It's like women going braless.
Listen, let me tell you
Yeah.
something. Monique has seen a lot of balls, but I have my own. Okay, and I will tell you, I'm 53, and there's that moments where when you get out of bed or you roll over in bed, when you get out of bed, you sit up. I'll sit on them. Like they'll
No,
See?
you're there?
yeah, dude. They'll like it has to be. It doesn't happen like you wearing underwear and stuff, but you're laying in bed. You're hot. You're kind of I don't know about you, but I get a little warm and when at night.
A little sticky.
Yeah, a little sticky.
Full on sit on your balls.
Yeah, like I'll like how you roll in bed, when you get out of bed, you roll to the side, right? You go to your side.
No,
No. How do you get out of bed? Do you bounce out like a fucking astronaut? What do you?
Yeah, Bruce Lee style. I just kip out of bed.
Nah.
That'll all end in a few years.
Yeah.
So walk me through this. You roll on your side, and then wait. So are you from your side? Do you lay on your balls? How long are these balls?
No, dude. Well, they're trying to keep up with my dick. So no, it happens. So I get up. What happens? I'll be on my I'll get up. All right, I'll sit back. I'll lay. It's time to get up, and then I'll roll to I'll kind of go on my side a little bit, and as I go on my side, then I'll roll the side, and then I'll sit in the side of the bed. My legs go off the side, and when I do that motion, when the legs kick over and go off the side of the bed, then this happens. The dinglies are down here, and then they kind of sit under me, and then for that 1 second, I'm like, boy, I'm glad I don't have a firm mattress. And then and then they'll be down there, and then
I believe they call that belvedering.
Really?
Have you ever heard the Mr. Belvedere story?
No.
Oh,
Yeah. So Jay Moore told this story on somebody's podcast, and Adam Sandler heard it. It was like, oh yeah, remember when that story happened to me because you steal jokes? So Sandler, when he was a kid, he had like a bit part on Mr. Belvedere, and it was a big deal for him. And they're at the table read, and the most important guy always comes in last, so he's the star of the show. He's the last one in the room, and he's in he's a plump man in like a velour sweat, full body velour sweatsuit. And he's like, oh shit, it's Mr. Belvedere. This is fucking cool. And he sits down and just like howling in pain. And he fucking falls off his chair. And they had to like bring in the medics because Mr. Belvedere sat on his balls.
Oh,
And he got wheeled out, and they canceled the table read for the day.
well, there you go.
Well, there you go.
So
Sitting on your balls.
You Belvedere, Dougie.
The
You
Belvedere.
Belvedered.
The Belvedere. Well, I Belvedere in the morning. I Belvedere, and then I.
That
Say that.
that also sounds like a wildly unathletic move. How you get out of bed?
Yes, thank you. I share that with everybody.
It sounded like 5 steps.
Yeah, it is. It's almost like it's easier to launch the space shuttle than it is for me to get the fuck out of bed anymore. You know what I mean? there is that. It's like, okay, I gotta, because I can't. I'm at that state where I lay on my side, my right arm will fall asleep, and then I gotta roll to my other side, and then my left side seems to be better, and I gotta put a pillow between my leg because I gotta, my back, and then and I gotta fluff the pillow the right way, and then so then when I get out of bed, I get Belvedered. What can I tell you? That's the way it is. Well, hey, you know what? That's kind of all we have the time for here today. I do want to say
that
this.
we're sticking the landing, that we just are jumping off on your balls.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yes, I love it when people are jumping off on my balls. Now, I don't want to be, people were worried about the flag and if I was this and that, but I'm going to give as a financial guy. Somebody said I was listening a lot about racial relations and things like that, and I'm going to offer an idea for reparations. Okay. The idea of reparations, whether you like it or not, just as a financial person, I'm going to give an idea of reparations. And this is how it could be. People shouldn't get anything for free, right? You got to persevere and you got to earn it. That's the one thing I'm about. But every Black American adult 18 and over will get $10,000 a year tax credit until the age of 67. So you'll get a tax credit. If a tax credit means if you make nothing, then you get that as a refund. You get a tax credit in a sense. And ages 17, under 17 and 0 will get $5,000 a year with a family limit of $20,000 a year. So you can't have 100 kids and collect fucking $300,000 in tax credits. So there are ways to do things that we can all make it. We'd all be together. We can all be happy. And let's do that, right? Let's wake up late. Let's make sure we get a nice sleep, get a good night's sleep, and don't get belvedered in the morning like I do. And then you'll have a good day. I want to thank my guest today. I want to thank Monique Marvez for joining us today. And of
Thank
course,
you.
Richie Redding. And Richie, tell us about your album, which is out.
Yeah, it's called #1 album of the year. It was actually #1 on the charts for a couple days, and then it got smoked by a chick with 3 million followers and Louis C.K. and Carl Reiner. But it's very funny. It's the last show, like I said, before quarantine hit. It was March 14th at 10 p.m. and it's an hour of comedy that I'm really happy with. So #1 album of the year, and on my social is at Richie Redding. Thank you.
There you go.
Average
Monique?
rating, very nice.
Monique, my dear, anything you want to
I
say?
have a HBO Max special that'll be airing towards the end of the summer, and right now you can find, because of COVID, my Showtime special, Snoop Dogg Presents the Bad Girls, Latin Divas, and Not Skinny Not Blonde, are all available on YouTube, free.
Very funny sets, by the way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You got it. And by the way, the Antibody Comedy Tour starts next week. I'm going to be at the Looney Bin in Wichita Thursday through Saturday, and then the Looney Bin in Tulsa on Wednesday through Saturday. Go to DougieAlmeida.com for more dates and follow me at Dougie Dangerous on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. You guys are wonderful, and you guys are the best.
I'll come
Thanks, buddy.
visit you
Great seeing
soon.
you.
We'll head down to Sam.
That's right. You guys are all welcome for spots on our Isla Mirada Grill Show and some other venues we're going to be opening up soon. So pretty excited about it, guys. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Wake Up Late with Dougie Show, or Wake Up Dougie, Wake Up with Dougie, Wake Up Late with Dougie Show, Instagram. Shit, just Google it. Who the fuck can find it? You can find it. Just support us. We appreciate it. And join our fan page, because that's where you're probably watching this through. Thanks, guys. Good night. We'll see you next week, by the way, with two all-new guests. Very funny folks. And it's right here on the Wake Up Late with Dougie Show. See you guys next week. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.
This has been a Gonzo Radio Network production. When the going gets weird, the weird